Hello and good day to you. Today's video on crochet inventory. We are going to crochet a striped skirt with drawstring tie. I'll be using double knit crochet yarn. This is by Aldi, and this is called edge tone. So you can use any color you desire. So to be safe, I've made sure that I have 2 packets of this. You can see that I've already gone through some. I'm still working on this. I'll work on this. You will need 3, depend on what you want, your stitch design. I'm using 3mm size 3mm crochet. I'm just trying to focus it. Let me see if I can focus it. Okay, so the crochet hook is 3mm. Oh, it's gone again. Let me. Okay, crochet hook 3mm. Inside you need scissors because we are doing stripes and you want to snip each edge. I don't want you using your palms because by the time you drag it might cut your hands. Okay, it might cut your hand, and you don't want all those, you don't want cut there. You need to be careful because you're going to crochet a lot, so you need your hands in good health. You need a tapestry needle because we'll be stitching the sides and also the band. If you desire, you use buttons, but I'm just going to explain why I said buttons, but you don't really need that one. You need pins, safety sewing pins. That's because we have to stitch, pin the seams before we stitch, so that we don't make mistake. We don't want puckering stitches, and we don't want one side being longer than the other. So I've already started crocheting. I finished one side, so I'm going to do the swatch for it, because for this design, this pattern, it's just a straight, it's just easy. Like I said, crochet inventory, we're just starting with something very easy, then we'll go to something very difficult. Okay, something that takes a lot. This one you can even, if you want to, make it into. So it's going to just be a straight skirt like this that's going to have a band, drawstring, and you can wear it with let me just put this so that it fits. I'm going to go all out. Okay, so that, okay, so we have let me just turn it so that, okay, so we have the band. Here will be the band. Okay, let me just flip. Let's see, here it's going to be the band, and it's going to be striped. So it's a skirt you can wear, and especially if you're starting crochet, you can do this. Okay, and just double crochet stitch all through. The only fun part is the colors you have to. On the blog, we have some different color palettes that you can use to create. You can just take colors and see, mix timing swatch to see if they'll match. And so, okay, so let's make our swatch. For this garment, normally we need for this skirt we need to crochet 145. We need 114 stitches, but because of the turning chain, and because for the first part we have to turn and we don't want to lose one stitch, we'll make 115 stitches. For this garment, for the bodies, for the front and back of the for the skirt, it's crocheted horizontally Okay, we have to crochet horizontally, and you can see that the hem here, this is a cast on part of where I started it. It's casted on, it's kind of tight. Then we have the cast off parts, and you can see my loops is still here. I still have my loop here. Okay, so what you knit it horizontally like so. Then it all depends if you want to turn it vertically yourself to decide which effect you want. So for this one, we're going to turn it vertically because I want it to look slim, tall, taking the shape and everything. And so I'm going to make it look like so, vertically. Though we'll knit horizontally, but I'll turn it vertically. So we'll have to pick our band from up here. And you will notice that we have two hems, some loose yarn here, and we have loose yarn here. For this part, we are going to darn it. If you want to, you can crochet over it to hide it. I don't want to crochet over it because for beginners, if you want to crochet over it, you can do that. But I don't want to crochet over it for this for the hem. But for the band, I'll crochet over it, and this loose yarn will be inside the band. But for the hem, I don't want to do that because I want it to look as if I don't want it to be as if there's a bias binding at the end. So I'm going to leave it like that. Optionally, because the skirt is very long, I'm going to darn it, this loose yarn, on the hem side. But for the if you if it's not too long for you, your skirt is not too long for you, what you can do is thread beads. Just going to zoom in close. Okay, so what you can do is thread beads into it, or you can trim it very short. You can trim it very short, and it will look rustic there. It will just look like give that countryside look there. So you can leave it like that, the hem, and you can. That's if it's not too long, that will not be getting to your toes. But I knitted this one to be crocheted this one to be very long. That means I can't really do that now. Except I decide now that I'm going to fold here to make my band, and I don't want to fold here to make my band because I just want to teach you how to crochet over the edge so that we can make a band for it. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside and we'll do the band here. We are going to make a swatch now, and in this swatch I'll demonstrate how to do the rows, thus how to tie your yarn so that it fits seamlessly and don't appear on the next row. So I've locked my yarn in between I lock it, the thumb and the second finger locks the yarn, makes a loop, and the crochet hook is in between. Then I'll take yarn over and pull it through, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over again and pull it through. Then you see that loop there, I'm just going to, yes, this one here, I'm just going to pull it, and it's going to make it knot there. So my stitching, my chain, they are secured. So now I have let me go closer so that you see. I have 1, 2, 3 chains instead of the 4 chains that I made before. One has been lost because I used that when I pulled the yarn, because it wasn't tied. When I pulled the yarn, it formed the knot, and the knot we now secure those chains that I'm making. So I have 3, 4, 6. So I've made 16. Normally I needed 15, but I'm making 16. Why am I making 16? Is because I'm going to turn to the second to make a row. and I don't want my crochet garment puckering, because you start pulling to each other. So I want it to be flat, to be straight and flat. So that's why I'm making an extra one. And then when I want to make turn, I'm going to make sure I lose this first stitch. I'm not taking my crochet hook out. All I'm going to do is that I'm going to miss the first crochet chain stitch, this chain stitch. I'm going into the second one. I'm going to make my double crochet. So yarn over and insert the crochet hook into the second chain, pull it out, pull yarn out, and I have 3 on the hook. Yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull. So with that, and I'll be making chain at the end of each of the ends. That will give my stitch a very nice it will make it straight. It will make the edges straight. You need that for this skirt that we are going to make in this crochet inventory, the striped skirt. So into each chain space, I'm going to take my yarn in and do a double crochet into it. And at the end, I should have 15 double crochet stitches. Although we did 16 chains, but remember the one missed for the turning, or for the turn. Okay, so I'm just going to crochet and be a little bit fast. And into the last chain space. So I'm going to count and make sure I didn't miss anyone. Okay, so here we have 1. So you see the nice edge we have here. By the time we knit, the other one is going to stretch out. So I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. Okay, so I just use this one for the second row, then I'll change the yarn so that we do the stripe. So I'm just going to pull out some yarn. Should have used the minion. Okay, this one should be enough. So, okay. So what I'm going to do for the next row, to start the next row, if I just do a double crochet, I'm going to, my stitch is not going to be my design or knit, sorry sorry, I'm always saying knit, sorry, because I do a lot of I do machine knitting, hand knitting and crochet, so I tend to miss the terms sometimes when I'm talking, so please forgive me for that. All right, the garment is going to start puckering inside, is going to start dragging in, which I don't want it to drag. So what we want is that we want it to be straight, because we are doing just a straight skirt, or if you can use this for blankets too, you can use this when you're making very easy garments. Okay, because you're not trying to do any shaping, we want it straight. Okay, so that's a nice thing to use. All right, so you now do a chain. I'll do that again, just lose it and redo it. We'll do a chain, we'll call that the turning chain. So you do that chain, you go yarn over into the first double crochet, and then you make your double crochet stitches, or your double crochet stitch, sorry, not stitches, not yet stitches. We're going to the next one. The next one, you don't need a chain, you just continue like that. Third one, you just continue as you did in the previous row. I always recommend that you do it on top the double crochet of the previous row. That it makes you know exactly where you are going to put the next one in, and it helps you in making sure that your stitches are in order, especially when you have to use the certain numbers of stitches. You're not just practicing or something like that, you need to ensure that you are using. So I prefer it when it's if you notice, it's you can see it's like as if it's a continuous bar. Sorry, it's a continuous bar, so you can see it's I do recommend that, but some people do put it in the space, but I don't. You can do it the way you feel. I'm just telling you my own tips and tricks for ensuring me to make sure I keep track of my stitches. So others can comment and tell us their own tips and tricks. We are open, we learn every day. And sometimes we do some things, we do some of the, and we do forget, because we are already used to one other way of doing things, and we forget that we've learned a lot of different ways of achieving that. So, okay, we've gotten to the, let me lose that one, I'm not supposed to do it fully. So this is the 14th stitch, and the 15th one, because it's a stripe, I'm just going to put it down so that you see it, and we'll go zoom in closer so that we get the, okay. So this is the 14th stitch, and you find that out we have a bar here. I've not done the crochet there. What I'm going to do next is that I need another color, so I'm going to use white will not show too much now because I have a white background, so I'm going to use this green. Let me find the edge of the green first before I start. So that we don't start finding where one thing is on the other. Okay, so I'm just going to put that aside. Okay, so here we have we've stopped at the 14th. So for the 15th, we are not going to finish it off. We're just going to go yarn. That's because we are going to do it. We want to prepare for the stripe of the next row. So I'm just going to go out. I think it's a bit blurry. Okay. So go yarn over. I'll just do it again. We'll go yarn over into the previous row, the double crochet of the previous row. We pull the loop, yarn over, we pull through 2, and then we stop. So here it is, we stop. Then I'll take the yarn. Oh, I'm trying to go closer at the same time. I'm just okay. Then I'll take the yarn and I'll just snip. This is why we end up with different lots of loose yarns. Okay, so I'll just snip and I'll take the other yarn. I'll tie it close to this. Good. You don't make it too loose, just tight, very close, very close. Okay. Oh yes, that's all right. So I'm just going to make a knot. Okay, here we have it, so you see it when I finish. Okay, so we have it like so, and I'm going to now pick this green and yarn over and I'll pull. So you notice, what did you notice? That the green is now up, and then it seems that the burnt red, the terracotta burnt red, has stopped here. So we turn over and we do our chain. So one chain. I'll try and hold this one so that it don't interfere with the work. And yarn over, we do a double crochet into the last 10 double crochet stitch, and we'll continue into every double crochet stitch. And I'll just be fast so that I can, then I'll end with a white one. Well, I can use the same and burnt this white next. I'll see if it will show with the white. If it does not show, I'm going to use the burnt red. Okay. Oh, I forgot again. Sorry. Okay, so we've done it, and okay. Now you can see one other. Okay, let me pull this one to the back. Let me just push it to the back. First, one thing I want you to note before we do the stripe, you see that the edge is it's as if this edge is coming in. If you don't do that chain, it will even be closer in, like so. It will be as if you're shaping the how you do the underarm shaping of a garment. So, but because of that chain we did, the turning chain, that one turning chain stitch is now forming straight. Don't bother about this bob. Yes, it's just where we tied the knot for the yarn. So you can see that it's straight. You have a straight one here. We are not here. We need to do the last stitch. So if you missed the first time I did it, this is another opportunity. So yarn over into, hook into the double crochet of the previous row, yarn over, pull loop out, yarn over, pull through 2 stitches, and you stop. So I'm going to, anytime I stop, I'm just going to place it down so that you know that I have stopped. And I'm just taking the yarn, oh sorry, the scissors, and I'm going to snip. I remember when I was learning how to crochet, a friend taught me, and it was in secondary school. Oh, she really has patience. She has patience. Okay, let me see the white if it's going to show. Oh, the white will show. But let me not use the white. Since it's white, I don't want to strain in your eyes. Okay, so let's continue. And then we'll take the yarn and we'll tie again. Okay, so I'm going to tie so that you see this time very well. I'm going to try, and you see how close I want it here. So that's why when I'm tying, my fingers get in the way because I'm trying to go too close to it. Okay, so you can see how close it is. I'm trying to look through and make sure that I'm not covering it, because sometimes you have to look through the camera to make sure you see that you're not covering what you are showing. It's actually showing. People are actually seeing what you are showing them. Not when you finish you find out that you were off camera. Okay, so sorry, I'm struggling a bit. Then I'll tie into the loop. Okay, see the loop? Oh, that's cool. All right, and let me hold this to the side so that you see what I did. Okay, so here we go. And when I crochet next, the finishes off with a loop through, you will see that we are prepared for the next row. So we continue in this format, and remember, always remember your turning chain. If not, you end up with stitches smaller than normal, than what is needed. So turning chain, yarn into the hook, into the double crochet of the previous row, and then we'll continue. And so we make our double crochet, and that's how our skirt, and that's how we formed our skirt. So I'm going to finish this one off quickly, and we'll continue because still have a lot to do. This time I'm going to just use the white. I'm going to snip off. I'm just going to tie the white here. All right, and I'll leave that. So here we have our stripe. I'm going to snip this one off. I don't need to be so that it's not on in the way, because I'm going to explain something. So here we have our swatch, and we need to measure. I'm using 1 inch by inch. So here we have our ruler. I don't know if you can, okay, it's not going to be, it's kind of thin, so I'll put this plastic ruler aside, and we use the metal one, which you can see clearly. So I just put it on one of those stitches. I'm going to use inch and measure just 5 sorry, I said 5 inch, 1 inch, and 1 inch is about 5 stitches. For me, it's 5 stitches. So you need to measure yours and see what 1 inch is. So 1 inch, 5 stitches, so it's ends here, so about 5 stitches. Then I'll measure the rows. So just turn the ruler horizontally, sorry, and then I'll measure the row for 1 inch. I think that's about okay, you know, we did then 2 rows of the 2 rows of this burnt orange. So even if I put it on this green side to the burnt orange, you find out that 2 rows for me is makes 1 inch, approximately 2 rows, just a little bit of the edge here. Okay, so let me just say 2 rows, 1 inch, 2 rows, 1 inch. For stitches, 1 inch is 5 stitches. Then for rows, 1 inch is 2 rows for me. So that's and measuring myself for the skirt and making sure I decide this length I want the skirt to be. Measuring myself for the skirt and deciding what the length I want the skirt to be. You can decide how you want it. If you want it to be on your calf, if it's on your calf, or if you want to be on the calf of your leg, or you want it to be very long up to the ankle, that's optional. That's for me, I made it very long to the ankle, and I made it to up to close to under my bust, because I wanted a high waist skirt which I can place a very big belt on, just to make me look a bit taller. Okay, so that's it. You decide with this the wearer, you decide how you want the skirt to be based on the wearer. Okay, so for this skirt I did there's going to be a pattern for it, although it's an easy pattern, but I'll just put pattern for it just for beginners, because it's good to have something to look through as the video is going on. So later on I'll put the pattern. The pattern will be uploaded and the link will be in the description, so that you can go to the blog to download it. And if it's not working, please, you can, if the link is not working, you can email me. I'll put it on another, I'll put it on the blog and make sure it's indicated. That's in case the link is broken later on, because sometimes maybe files get deleted mistakenly to create space in the blog, and maybe perhaps the file has been deleted or it's not opening in the blog. Also, you can send me a message and I will re-upload it in the blog or another part, and I'll put the link where I uploaded it into, so that we can all have it. Okay. So for this striped skirt, this body of the skirt, we crocheted. Okay, first of all, sorry, before I continue, we have to tell you how it's going to be vertical, like so. So I'm just going to put so that you see it. It's going to be vertical, although it's knitted horizontally. We knit it's crocheted. Sorry, missing terms again. It's crocheted horizontally. We crochet like so horizontally, but this skirt I'm going to make sure I'm using it vertically because as I said earlier, I want it to look slim, have take the grip and everything, and also make me look taller, because it's a vertical stripe. It's going to make me look slim and taller. So that's what the fit I want. If you want it horizontally, that's fine, but me, I will turn mine. Even when I finish, I'll turn it to vertical, because that's how I want my skirt to be. So for the horizontal, if you want it horizontal, you have to decide the numbers of stitches. You have to do those measurements, and you have to do those measurements. So the skirt will be like so. But if you want it vertical, we're going to have a skirt like so, long stripes. And for the vertical, I did what's the numbers of stitches again? I'll just tell that. That's 164 stitches. Okay, because I knit, I'm knitting horizontally, but it's going to be vertical, it's going to be long, so 164 stitches. And the rows is 92 rows, 46 rows for the front and 46 for the back. That's 92 rows. So what I did, because it's just a straight skirt, I made sure that I knitted 92 rows together. So I'm just going to zoom out so I made sure the 92 rows are together. So this part is the front. I'm just going to, okay, so this part is the front, this is the front, and I folded it in half. This side is the back, so I just continued. I didn't separate them so that I will have a seam, and now I have only one side seam to it. I just made 92 rows, full 92 rows, no front, no back, separated, both knitted together as one piece. So then what we need to do next is to knit the hem, the band for the skirt. So 92 rows, yes, 92 rows and 164 stitches was what I used for this. So you can make yours the way you want it, just measure, and you'll be able to do whatever you desire. If you notice, we have two loose ends here. I'm not going to, for this other loose end, this one's going to be the hem of the skirt. Because it's vertical, it's going to be on my ankle. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to darn this part. Yeah, I'm going to darn each and every one of them. Because it's very long, I don't have the option of doing something else. I would have put thread beads through it, or I would have trimmed it very tiny, but I don't want that. Or alternatively, you just crochet over it with another stitch and lock it in. But I'll see if I can weave it. Yeah, I can weave it. Do a braid. Yeah, I think I can do a braid over it to lock it. But if it were if it's ending on my calf, I would have left it like that, because it's really looking nice, and it's nice and rustic, giving those country local side. So now the next step we need to do is to make the band, and so I'm going to start picking stitches. And for this side, that's why I said the next step we need to do is make the band. So for this side, I'm going to make the band, and I'll just pick the stitches. If it were horizontal, it would have just been nice to just pick straight, but no, this is not horizontal, it's vertical. I'm going to have vertical, so I'm going to have a band over it. And I'm contemplating, do I use different colors, or do I just use one big color, or mixed color? I think I'm going to use the same sequence. And for the band, I'll need For the band, I'll need 114 stitches. For the band, I'll need 114 stitches, and we're going to need 6 rows. Since I'm using, how many colors am I using? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's fine. So I have 6 colors. So that's going to be it. So I'll need that for the band, and because we're going to make the band horizontally across, we don't need to darn this part. It's only the other side. So what do I do first? Should I start the band or do the finishing on one side? Okay, let's make the band. So to make the band, I'm just going to insert the crochet hook into the edge of one of the this double crochet stitch of the row. And I said we need 114 stitches. So 114, yeah, 114. Okay. So I'm starting with let me start with the green. So for the band, what we are going to do is just insert the crochet hook. We're going to start from the hem here, then we'll make sure the other stitches fit through the other part of the band. So we have it like so. Yarn over. I'm just going to bring it out and then tie it. One time just to secure the yarn. Can make it a double knot and just secure the yarn there. If you don't want that, that's fine. So put the hook back, pull a loop. Try not to pull. It's pulling the okay. All right. Pull a loop, yarn over, make a chain. That you've made the chain. So now we do a double crochet there. And then we'll do another double crochet in here, the hem of the, should I say, the bar or something like that. You have to make sure this one's going to test your technique, but it's going to test your ability to make sure a certain number of stitches fit into a certain number of space. But if you want to, because you're going to use ties, you don't need to stretch yourself over it, because you're going to use ties, and it's going drawstring ties to as or you're going to put elastic if you want to, but I'm using drawstring ties. What you need to do, you can do, is that you can make, it's going to be like 2 stitches into the, that's up and down of the row of each color bar. You do it so that your stitch don't drag together too much. That's if you're all right with that. But you end up with multiple numbers of stitches than that's twice, because it's 96 rows. So if I do that, I'll end up with 192 stitches, which is much, because we just need 114 stitches for the band. But because it's a draw tie, if it's a tie or elastic, it's all right, because it's just going to fit properly too, and you have the allowance of wriggling through, so we should do that. But if you're going to you don't want elastic, you just want it to be flat there, then you have to make sure you use the exact numbers of stitches that is being indicated in the knitwear instruction. So I'm just going to knit a few, crochet a few. We already know how to do edges of that, those stripes. It's going to take time knitting those, but what if you notice now, you can see, taking a look at the back, taking a look at the front, you'll notice that the loose yarn, where are they? They are in the middle. They are in the middle. You can see this one poking out here. They are in the middle, so they are here in the middle. When you lay them in the middle, if you lie them in the middle, you can now use cannot crochet over them, and they'll be secured there. So I'll do a few, and then I'll go back and complete the others off camera, so I don't take too much of your time. But if you want to watch me, that's fine. Oh, I mean, I forgot to make it straight, so I'm going to lose it, and I'm going to lose up to this part and make sure they are straight. When I was holding it, I just made a mistake and slipped into it. Because you want it to be looking good and professional, you have to make sure that it follows a straight line. So what I would advise to do is that's the mistake I made, and I have to lose because I want it to look very professional. I want to teach you well how to make sure do it. I just don't want to just do something haphazardly. No, I want it to be neat looking. So if you notice, I just loosed back. That's because as I said, was having some going into the second stitch. If you are using only the first stitch, you should use only the first stitch. If you are using the second stitch, stitch, so if this is the first one, we are using the edge stitch, and that should be the stitch you are using, because if you start going into the second one or start going on in between the first and the second stitch, you're going to start having stitch going in there, except that's how you want the pattern to look like, as if it's a wavy, is the kind of effect you're trying to create. But if it's only the first stitch you want to use, then ensure you are doing just that, so that it's going to look straight. So is being consistent all through. That's just the thing. Whatever you're doing, make sure it's consistent all through. That tells the customer, if you are going to sell it or you're going to present it for something, it tells them that this is how I intend this thing to be. So I'm just going to crochet that. Okay. Oh, I've gotten a yellow. Okay, it's not going to be straight. So we are still following the same edge stitch. We're not going into the second one. Okay, so I'll do the other ones off camera. I just want to show you. Oh, the back. Okay, it's going to cover. So when I complete it to do the other side, when we complete it to the full band, which is 6 rows, I'll show you. I will do that. So let me do this other one, which is also important then, because by the time you see the band, it would have been completed. So for this to done the other side, if you are not going to crochet over it like how I am crocheting over the band, if you are not going to do that, you want to darn instead, then you can just thread your, if you see, insert the crochet hook into the color you want to darn through it, and then I'm going to pick yellow, the golden yellow through this part, the yellow part. Why? Is because it will be easier to hide it in its color than in the other color. So I'm just going to pick it and then yarn over. Hope I can show. Okay, so I've put the hook through. I've put the hook through the stitches, and I've come out at the edge where the loose yarn is. I'm just going to wind the yarn around the hook of the loose yarn around the hook of the crochet hook, and I'm going to pull through into the knits, and we'll have the loose yarn in here. You can see. So I will still pull it through some others, and it will be secured there. So that's how we're going to hide it. You can also, if it's coming out through here, maybe it's too short to come out through here, even into, you can weave the crochet hook in and out of the one double crochet, and then pull it into that double crochet, and it will be secured there. That will have it tightened. So you see it is in there now. I've moved it up vertically. That's by just going into a double crochet and pulling the tail of the yarn through there, and then that's it. So I'll do this purple. So in and out. Now I'm just going to wind the yarn and pull through. You can use smaller crochet hook. It's better when you use the smaller crochet hook because you get to go in and out of the. Okay, see now I didn't even pull that. I've destroyed one of my stitches, so I'm just going to adjust that one back. But with smaller crochet hook, you can go in and out of the stitches without having okay. So yarn over, and we're going to pull through. Right. So if you notice, I've pulled it through. I've gone to make my stitch pucker now. Okay, I've pulled through, and if I want to hide it more, I'll come into the bar here. Instead of this bottom that I was doing it in, because it can stay, because it's just straight, it can just be pulled out too. I'm just going to make sure I secure it by coming into one of the stitches here. I'm just going to come into the upper part of the stitch and then weave in and out this into the bar of a bar of a double crochet, and I'll secure it there. So though you can see a little of it here, I'm just going to hide that one, because once you pull that one out, everything will come out. Once you tug on it, everything will come out. Okay, so here we've hidden it, and you can see there's none on the back, there's none in front. So I'll do another one. So we have the crochet hook in and out into the stitch, and I'm just going to pull the loose yarn. Sorry, I was off camera. Pull the loose yarn through it, and I'm just going to leave it. But because it's straight, it can also be pulled out. So what I said, I'm going to come into one of the stitches, one of the double crochet, and I'm going to go in and out. I'm going to go in and out, then pull this tail of the loose yarn into it to secure. So that makes it take another direction. Let me do this other one. It's nice when it's at the bar. You can just that's the thick edge like this one. And you can just okay, and then this time we go up, down, and hide it still. So we have it. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the back. So you see, although it's going to take time, but you won't have that bias edge. Not everyone likes that kind of bias edge around the hem of this. You can do some very tiny crochet over it if you want to. As I said, you can braid the edges, you can add more yarns to it, and then if you know how to plait like cornrows or so, you can plait over it, very tiny plaits which you can stitch to it. I think I have a pattern like that I did for I-cord braided edge, of how you can braid to cover loose yarn to make decorative edges to it. Perhaps as we do this crochet inventory, I'll do one of them, or one of those kind of this effect for one of all these. Since we can play with yarn, we just braid the yarn and we just put it over it to cover it, and that's fine. I will do that in one of our designs. Okay, so we've done we'll continue the others, and the next time, okay, the next one we'll do is we are going to do the tie, and after the tie, the next when you'll be seeing this garment, would have completed it, and I'll be modeling it. I will be modeling it, or the mannequin will be modeling this. We're modeling this skirt. So let's do the next one. So for the tie, I'm going to get so for the tie, to make the tie, the drawstring tie, we're going to use one of each of the yarn. You can use two if you want to. Let's use two. I think one is going to be too. One looks too thin. It's going to be too thin. Let me see. It's going to be a little bit thin. It's going to be thin. So I'll do two. Let me do two. So we are going to make the tie, and to make the tie, we're going to use 2 strands of yarn of each color. So I'm going to hold them together. And since we are using 6 colors, means we'll use 12 strands of yarn. For this, you can use a larger crochet hook, or you can use 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it 5? Okay, no, 6. Left it, sorry. Okay, 6 colors. So 2 of each, and we're just going to make a chain stitch. If you don't want to make chain stitch, you can cut as long yarn, twist them together, it's still a tie. You can make chain stitch, you can braid it together. If you have you can tie it to the door handle and braid like those long braids. You can braid them together and do that. So but I'm just going to hold them together and make a chain stitch. I tried 6 just now, just 1 strand of each, but it wasn't looking, how do I say, it was too thin. Let me see, it was too thin, and because of this crochet hook, it's going to be this crochet hook is, I think it's too small for the work, but need to manage it. So I just make it a bit loose. I just want, if you have just 1 crochet hook, you'll be able to do the job. I don't want to start changing and making beginners have, you know, when you are experienced, you can do what you want. But for beginners, since it's 1 crochet hook, some just wanted to be able to use it without having to start searching here and there to use such thing, to start looking for another alternative. Before we increase the difficulty adjustment, we just want them to be able to get used to the. So you see, I'm already making the tie. You can make the tie thin, you can make it fat, is optional. You decide what you want. Remember, you are the designer. So I'm just going to it's too tight there, so it's not coming out. I noticed that if it's too large for the crochet hook, if you twist the yarns together a little, it will be easy for your crochet hook to just pull all yarns through. Once you twist the yarns together, just twist it before you go for the once you twist the yarn together, then you can wind the hook of your yarn around the yarns and pull. It's easier for your crochet hook to pull through all of them if it's small. So I've okay. Just going to snip this up here. It's not necessary for you to do hold 2 yarns of each color together. Just imagine you're using about 10 to 20 yarns. Okay. It's not necessary for you holding 2 yarns together. You can use one of each. You can just use only 4 colors or so, or 6 strands. You can use 6 strands minimum. Yeah, minimum. Let's say 6 strands minimum, because it's not going to be too thin. So just we're finished. So just pull it through the loop to secure it, and so we have that. If you want to, you can use 1 strand, and I'm just going to do 1 strand of yarn each. So I'll put this one to one side. I'm going to just do 1 strand of each color, and we'll decide which one we want. This to tell you that sometimes you can design as you go along. Okay, so here. Okay, so I'm just going to hold 1 strand of each and do same. Then I'll decide which one I want, and this can be a backhand. Okay, so just so you say it. So yarn, let's go closer. So I've held 1 strand of each of. Okay, I left 1. Alright, so 1 strand of each color. That's 6 strands minimum. That will give us a nice drawstring. Just want to make sure I took all of them. And if it's too much, like so, if it's too heavy for your yarn, you just twist, and you'll be able to see how easy it is now. So once you twist, it grips all of them together and no yarn is left behind. So 6 strand is alright. Yeah, it makes a nice one. The 12 strand was so too heavy. Yeah, too heavy. So I'm just going to continue. So I finished crocheting the, this is 6 strand drawstring tie. So I'm just going to do the finishing, the loop. I'll just pull the remaining ones through the loop, and that's how I'm pull it tight. It secures it. It gives a nice tie there, a nice knot there. So we have this is 12 strands, and this is 6 strands. So this 6 strands is smaller, but it's nice. It all depends on the person, because for some people 6 strands is going to be too small, too thin, which will make them be cut into their body. That's it will be as if it's, you know, when you use thin elastic to for the band of a skirt, when you're supposed to use fat elastic or so, or wide elastic. That is what this 2 different strands are all about. So you now decide which one you want and which the thickness you want. Okay, so the next time will be, you will see the knitwear will be, so that's all for the tie. And the next time you see the knitwear, would have finished the band, and we are trying to lock the hem of the bands to do the edges. I'll just demonstrate the flipping over of the band on how to stitch it over, and the side hem on how to sew it. And if you want to, like for the hem, if you want side slits there, of which you can put just decorative buttons, of which you can remove if you want to. So it's optional. Skirt would have finished the band, and we'll just do the band over and the side seam, and then we'll model it so that you can see how it's going to be like, so that you see how we finish it and you can make yours. So we finished the skirt. You can see, if you take a closer look, you will see that I've hemmed this in, and I just I done it in, sorry, not hemmed, I done it in, and you can see the thread here. So what I'm going to do is just to snip it close and make sure I don't cut the stitches. So just snip it close, and you have a neat finishing there. Okay, so that's the hem. If you want, as I said earlier, if you want to crochet over it, that's fine. I've already done that on this other side, and I want this part, I don't want any cross color crossing. I just want it to be as if the color ended there, and non-knitters wondering, or non-crocheters wondering what happened, how did you do it. So that's what I did here. But if you want to do crochet a stitch over it or something like that, that's fine. If you want to leave the stitches, as I said earlier, you can even thread beads in it. You can leave the yarn dangling there, but the skirt's already too long and I don't want to leave the yarn to give that rustic feel. So you can do that if you want to. So for the hem, for the band, as I said earlier, I've already made the band, and you can see I've done it in. I'm not going to trim it, I'm just going to, so that you can see that you don't have to. And here we crocheted over, and we so that this is in focus. That you see that we crocheted over just to put so bring the next side up. Okay, so here we crocheted over the stitch. We didn't darn the yarn, so the loose ends still have the yarn inside, and if you look at this other side, you will see some of them poking out, of which I purposely left out just to show you that this is what we did. So I'm going to darn this one in here. You don't need to darn, you just need to make sure that your yarn are directly over it, as I said earlier in the previous one, and just because it's a continuous clip. So what we're going to do next is we're not going to just fold and make the band. So we're not just going to fold and just make the band, because we need to sew the hem, the side seam first. If you fold and make the band first to create the band, and then you fold, you see it's going to be bulky, and then you sew the side seam, it's going to be bulky. If you are a sewist or sewer, depending on what you prefer to be called, you notice that you have to first of all sew the side seam first, and then you can now bend the band, and then you have a continuous 9 seam over, of which you see is going to be very neat. Now then you can thread your elastic and it won't have any place to hook to or something. Then you have a free flow of whatever you desire to do. So that's what we are going to do. So what you're going to do is bring in the technique of sewing in here. So we're going to first of all lay our garment. I folded it in half so that we can see, because it's really large. You know, I made everything once in one, instead of joining front to back, I made the front and back continuously like that. So this side we're going to make it as this is going to be our slit. It's going to turn into a back slit. So I've placed it and make sure that the seam, the left side seam meets with the right side seam. So what I'm going to do, my accessories are going to come in place here. I'm going to try and why I said that is just because I want to create a slit and my tape measure is not close by. So I'm just going to try and do some little tricks here. So minus in the band, I'm just going to fold the bodies of the garment. The body of the garment, not body, sorry, bodies. Oh, sorry. So what I'm going to do is to fold the body of the garment towards itself, except the band. So that gives me that this is half of it. Then I'll see if it's so I'm just going to, okay, so here is it half, and that's going to be too, so this is going to be too short for the skirt, because although I want a long slit, but I don't want it that the slit is starting from my thigh. I prefer it if it's starting from my knee, because it's a very long skirt. So I'll just add a little to it. It's a very long skirt, so I'll just add a little to it to be on the safe side, since I'm not measuring. Then if I want to, if I see that it's too tight, I can make it, I can lose it. So I'll place the needle. I'll place the needle here. I'm just going to pin it. I'll get a stitch marker and place it there. So I just place a stitch marker there. That tells me that that's where I'm going to stitch up to. Am I using tapestry needle, or am I using, here's a tapestry needle with yarn in it. It's not really a tapestry needle, it's a normal hand sewing needle, but the needle eye is very large. So I was able to thread yarn through it. So you don't, we can use that if you want to, but I'll prefer using sewing machine. Just one little person when it comes to hand sewing. So I'll just go for the sewing machine and I'll do that. So we stitch it from nails. So we'll stitch it from here straight down, or from the top down to those marker there for the slit. Then after that, we're going to, let me just do some quickly here. So I'm just going to just manually tack this one out, just to show you exactly how neat it's going to be when we finish, and I'll still show you when I finish doing it. So I'll go to the sewing machine now. I'll be back. I'll stitch it from here to here. Let me get my sewing machine, and then So I'm going to place it there and we'll start stitching. So this we are going to stitch it now. This is the wrong side of the work, of which you have so I'm just going to place it. I'm using back stitch and I'm going to sew close to it. And when you're stitching, make sure it's a bit close. You don't want to bulk it in, because they tend to be uncomfortable. And if you want to use zip, you can use zip, as we did in the previous as I did in the previous. If you want to use zip, you can use zip, as we did in the previous video. I'm just using simple back stitch, so I'm just going to so I have to go back like a normal sewing mistress. So I have to move back. Oh, let me take the camera down, maybe can focus it. Okay. So this is a sewing machine. I'm going to use the back stitch. So I'll be using back stitch. So let's see, you can see 0, 0, and just plain back stitch. The stitch is not too tight, not to just an average normal stitch. So it's for the machine. So I'm just going to focus we are seaming the side seam now. And make sure that the hem, the band matches. You don't want the band, you want the band to match properly, as I did the previous you want the band to match as we did the previous skirt when we did the zip. So if you want to put zip, if you want to, you always make sure things matches. So I've gotten to the place. So I'm just going to go back on it. Okay, that seals it. So what we're going to do, if you can take a look, push this aside first so that we have full torso. If you take a look at the band, you will see now that we have a nice ring. I don't know if we have enough. We need more space to show what we want to show. So if you take a look, push this so. If you take a look at the band, you will see that we have a nice ring, and it's cool. It's not time for us to sew the band. So for the band, we'll make sure it lines the seam end line to the seam end. I'm just going to place it and with a pin, we're going to be using pins too. So we're just going to make sure it matches line to line, seam to seam. That helps us to start and line our work. So I'm just going to make sure the same, and then we'll continue. Just place that one inside. I can trim it, so let me trim it inside. Crocheted over it. So I'm just going to trim it. So we place, we pin, and we start forming the tube. That is, if you want to put elastic, you can do that. If you want to, even if you, what we should do a skirt that has a band, a belt band, so that or belt hole, is that? I can't remember what it's been called again. Okay, there's another one here. Parking. So let's. Why are we picking? All right. Most of the time, this process I'm doing, there's what you might do is just to make sure this. Then take one end and take the other end. Then you make sure it's lined properly at the other end, and you pin. Then you start pinning the other side. If not, if you follow this other, if you just start if you continuously start pinning, let me do it right. That's what it's going to be. So now we've done the side seam, but we have not stitched. We have not folded our band over, and you can see that when we're going to fold our band over, it's going to make a very smooth seam without, because if you had done the seam for the band first before the side seam, it's going to be bulky, and you have a bulk when you fold it in, especially if you are not putting zip, because this one we are not putting zip. It's just an easy skirt which you can thread. We can thread what they call it, drawstring through. We can do elastic. We can put elastic through. But it's not like the previous one we did, where you can put zip through. You can put we'll place the zip. We're just doing an easy skirt. So what you need to do now is to fold. You can see we have a nice ring. Okay, we have a nice ring for our band. So what we need to do is make sure the seam or the side seam of the band matches. And you can see that one other thing, when I was teaching, I had to point out, sorry if I didn't point it out, make sure everything matches. You can see that the band matches. You can't see the band is not here and it's inside the body of the work. No, it's going to become uncomfortable. So we want the band, everything to be in their proper place, the way we design the skirt to be. Okay, so I'll just fold the hem here and make sure it matches with this part here, and with a pin I'll just put it in place. Then I'll go to the other end. I know some of you wonder, why didn't I just continue? You know, sometimes you have to just make sure you go to the end of which is the right way to just, especially if you are working, to just to make sure it lines properly. Why is because the needle, you can adjust it. If not, you can have puckering or pleated effect there, of which we don't want. So we've gone to one end of the knit of the garment halfway, and we've pinned, and we've gone to the other end to pin. So it works the same way with skirt. When you are sewing, it works the same way with skirt. If you are sewing bands and all those things for kids, you want to put elastic in, you want to make sure it matches. Then you now start working in the middle to make sure the middle matches properly. Then you have a lines. So now you have a nice, you see, it's now fitting properly. So we need to do the other side. So I'll just turn the work and we'll just make sure it matches the other side. Remember, we're working on the wrong side of the garment. You can see the seam is here. Everything is going to be inside so that we have a neat work, or a neat finishing and a neat garment. So I'm just going to pin this, and then we'll go to the sewing machine and we'll stitch this. Okay, when I stitch, I'm just going to leave, since you are going to thread yarn through, or elastic, if you are going to use elastic, you would have put your elastic in, stitch it the same way, and you leave a little bit of open, you thread it, then you can do the finishing of that. I'm not using elastic. If I'm using elastic, next one of the next other ones I'm going to do, I'm going to use elastic so that I'll demonstrate how to use it, and you'll be able to do that if you want to use elastic. So this one is drawstring, but if it's elastic, you can just thread it into, you leave an opening, you thread it in, or you complete the elastic, put it inside the band, so that when you fold it, the elastic is inside. So when I do that, I will do it, I don't know if I'm going to do it in fabric, or you just to put the technique, tell you the technique that you can use that. I think a little girl skirt for that would be alright to do that and put elastic in. Have I done that? Yes, I think I've done that in machine knitting. I think we'll use that. If you got a skirt in machine knitting, I think I did that, and how to use elastic, I think that's up there. So if you check the videos on how to, be it on Anino TV or Crafters Media, you see, no, I think it's on Anino's TV, yes, on Anino's TV, because they did it long ago, years ago, almost 6 years now, or so, 7 years. It's a gathered skirt, it's a machine knitted gathered skirt, but the technique is there on how to, you can use elastic in it. But I'll try and do a recent one again so that you will be able to do which one you desire. So let's go to the machine. I'll do a recent one with in one of the skirts, and you have a recent technique. You will not need to be scrambling through lots of videos to see this particular effect. Okay, so let's go to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch this out. But we're going to leave a little opening for us to put for us to thread in our what do you call it, our drawstring. We are using drawstring for this. Alternatively, we'll stitch it all up. Because we have large holes here, we can just thread in our drawstring through it and just bring it before anyone. But if you are using elastic, you can thread it in through first before you complete the stitching. You just leave a little bit of opening. Once you set it, the elastic, you finish stitching to securing it perfectly well. You come back and finish the stitching. Okay, so now I'm gonna go and we'll stitch up. Oh, I just put the machine. Okay, so let me set. Same back stitch. Just making sure it lines properly. Okay, so I'll just leave it with a little bit of opening. Let me take it off. Let's back to so we've left a little bit of opening here for us to put in. So if you have elastic, you can thread it in through here, then you stitch the ends of the elastic to make it perfect. Then you come back and seal that part so that the elastic is secured in there after you stitch the ends of the elastic. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to thread the what they call I'm always forgetting, the drawstring through it. But you can, since we have large holes, you can just thread the drawstring. Since we have large holes, you can large holes in our knit. Our crocheted skirt has large holes. You can thread the. You can insert the drawstring, the cord through, so that you can have it inside here. So we'll thread it through and we can bring it out, maybe through place here. Then we'll seal. So I just got in some white elastic. If you have, all you need to do is thread it through. That's one way. Then when you finish threading, you bring the other part out. Then you stitch. Then you have to stitch both ends together. You make sure they are smooth, then you fold it over, you stitch again before you secure. So this is one that I did long ago. This one this is a ready-made one. You ready-made stitch your elastic. Then inside, if this is the hem, what you're going to do, if that is the band, what you're going to do is wear it inside the band before you fold. Okay, then you now fold it over and then you stitch. You make sure it's in the right that if it's that is not twisted, because it's going to be a problem if it's twisted. It's going to affect the wearer. So then you make sure you fold it over. Let me demonstrate. So you fold it over and you're done, and you stitch, and everything will be, the elastic will be already in place, so you don't need to do another opening also. But this one, you have to make sure you have the right size. You've already measured it. Then you finish, you stitch the ends together, you flatten it upon itself and restitch it to make sure there is not there's no bulk in it. It's smooth part. So but that's it. I said I'm going to demonstrate, but for this video I'm just going to highlight it or mentioning, so that I don't forget that if I'm going to do a skirt that demands elastic, we're going to do that. Maybe the next one we should use, not the next video. I think the next video is a top and a bag. That one don't need elastic. Okay, so we already have our drawstring. We have a bigger one, larger one, a thicker one. Yeah, we have a thicker one, but I'm not going to use this. This is too thick for it. So this one I can use it as what I use. I can use it as a necklace. I can put it on the neck, and when I wear it, I can just wear it and put it up. Yeah, when I'm modeling it, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so if you want, I'm just going to use a large safety pin. Just put it through. It will enable me to pull the So through the hole, I'm just going to start threading this through. Oh, my nails getting in the way. Okay, I'm just trying to check if the safety pin opened. Hope it didn't open. Hope it didn't open. Let me check. Oh, check it did. Okay. Just going to try and bring it out. I'm going to be really, really careful. Just okay, so I have another one here, so let me use this one. I think this one is the femur. Let's see. Okay. I think I've done a bit of mistake, so I'm just going to. So we have our skirt. What I'm going to do is find the hem, and I'm going to make sure. Okay, so this is the hem, the seam, the side seam. This is going to be the back. It's not going to be the back of which we have our slit, so it's going to be the back seam, and we're going to use this other end of it, the opposite end of it. We're going to use that end as our front, because since that's going to be the center back, back slit, because we want the slit to be at the back, the center. If you want it at the side, you can twist the technique the way you want to. So what we're going to do is to make sure, I'm going to place a big pin here just to mark this part. So this is the place that the drawing, the cord is going to come out from. So we'll make sure it comes out in front. So here, so I'm going to place it, I'll mark it, but the cord will bring it through the front side, not if the back, because we want to be able to tie it every now and then. We can have it drape down. So let's look for the slit. So I'm going to put the first one, take a safety pin. I'm using the smaller cord. The larger cord, as I said earlier, is going to be used as a necklace. So I'm just going to put that because it's too big to pass through. So I'm just going to start threading. Okay, so we're already there for the first one. So I'm just going to bring it the other way, in front. So going to be careful when pulling out. Okay, oh, this one thing with my safety pin. Why is the opening like so? All right. So we brought the side one out, and we're going to take the other part of the and thread it through the other side, the other end, back into the same hole. Okay, you know we've threaded one part out, so we need to thread the other part in. I don't know why it's becoming tight there, so let me make sure the pin is not open. Okay, it's not open. Oh, it's just the same there. Okay, don't worry, we'll get through that. Oh, you've gone to open. I hate when I don't like when pins this safety pin open, so I'm just going to try and bring it out. Nice talk. So it opens here, so it's stuck. So what I'm going to do is try and bring the safety pin out. Brought it out of that hook here. So yes, our band is still here, so I'm going to get it out, and I'm going to just not use too much. I'm going to, so that I won't have too much to pull through. I'll be pushing it from the back. I do have I do have one. That's why it opens, because instead of me to push from the back, I'm always pulling from the front, so that releases the pin. So now I'm pushing from the back. It's working perfectly. That's pushing the pin from the back. It makes it glide easily and prevents the pin from opening, because you are not holding the head of the pin. Okay, so where do we come out from? Oh, the green. Okay, so we are there. And now you just snip, snap, snap, snap. Alright, so pull that off, and we have our drawstring. And So let's pull our drawstring out. So that not two out, just pull it and make sure it lines well. Let me tie it first. I don't want to make a mistake again. I don't want to make the mistake of it slipping in, and I'll start all over again. Okay, so now we turn inside out, and here we have our drawstring, and here we have our skirt. So I'm just going to place it up on the table. Just push things aside. And you're taking a look, you'll see now that we have our drawstring, and when you're wearing this skirt you pull, and you see when you're wearing this skirt you pull, you see that it's working properly. So that's how a skirt is going to be. So next time you see me, I'll be modeling this skirt. We have, and let's turn to the back, and we have a nice slit at the back. I'll trim out the extra yarn of which I've done. So we have our nice slit. You can see the slit, yeah, the back slit. So I'm just going to fold it up and show you our slits. So I'll trim out these ones that I done into the work, and then the next time I'll be modeling this skirt. When you're trimming like this, be very careful. Don't want to cut your work. You really don't want to cut it. Okay, so yeah, we have our beautiful skirt finished. So thank you for joining me for this video. So thank you for joining me for this video of crocheting a striped skirt with drawstring band for our crochet inventory. Until next time, happy crocheting, and remember, you are the designer. Bye for now.